All right, so let me run down this draft order real quick. We've got 7 people from inside the building. I think we have a couple of just random internet strangers who are joining us too. So I apologize for not mentioning your name, random internet stranger. But at number 1 pick, we've got Aaron Tan, who works with us in the fantasy content department. Niran Chata, who is our beloved fantasy intern. I'd say go blue, but USC is part of the Big Ten now, so screw that. Number 3, Justin Graver. You know him as the Gravedigger, formerly producer Justin on this show. Christy Stapleton, one of the lead specialists here who help us out. She's at number 4. Hytham Kalani is at 5. Randy Chavez, you know him as producer Randy, is at 6. I'm sitting at number 7. And then number 8, again, random internet stranger number 1. Number 9, it looks like it's going to be potentially auto-picked. And then number 10, internet stranger number 2. So we are off and running. It is a 30-second clock. We are going with our standard scoring, which is PPR at NFL.com. And 10-team league. We'll do as many rounds as we think are viable. So the first pick is off the board. It is, no surprise, Jonathan Taylor. Derrick Henry goes number 2 to Niran, which I think he did just despite Justin Graver, who was a notorious Tennessee Titans fan. So that's the first 2 picks off the board. No real surprises there so far, but it's number 3 is Justin Graver. So now he's, I'm sure, scrambling a little bit. And he goes Austin Eckler at 3. Dalvin Cook goes at number 4 to Christie. So that puts Hytham on the clock. I know he wants to take a Chicago Bear, but it feels a little bit early for Justin Fields right now. So I think he's going to not do that. Instead, he's going to go with Joe Mixon. So now that we've got nothing but running backs off the board, Nick Chubb goes at number 6 to Randy Chavez, which means I will gladly take Cooper Kupp and say thank you for that one. So we go with 6 running backs off the board to start with before we get our first wide receiver. Now we have random internet stranger number 1. I think I'm going to just call that person Riss 1 and then Riss 2. So down to 10 seconds left. Again, 30-second clock here, which, by the way, I'm sort of in favor of doing more drafts with shortened clocks because I think it forces you to really sort of believe in your priors and figure out who you really like a lot. Well, it appears that Random Internet Stranger has bailed on us, so now it's going to be an auto pick. But it's Najee Harris goes at 8. Alvin Kamara goes at number 9, so he slides into the back part of the first round. Even though we know there's some uncertainty there with Alvin Kamara and what his availability might be to start the season. Justin Jefferson now rounds out the first round. So only 2 wide receivers in the first round, but Devontae Adams starts the second. So back-to-back receivers. Christian McCaffrey slips into the early part of the second round, followed by Jamar Chase. So now it is back to me. Ooh, so many places to go. I don't have a running back yet. Do I take one here? I know the clock's running. I'm at 18 seconds here. And you know what? I think because this is a 10-team league and not a 12-team league, I'm going to double up on wide receivers. And I'm going to take Deebo Samuel here with my second pick. So Deebo Samuel goes with the 4th pick in the second round. And we're starting to see more wide receivers come off the board here in this mock draft. A.J. Brown goes right after him to Randy. So Randy starts with Nick Chubb and A.J. Brown. That gets it back to Hytham here in the middle of the second round. Josh Allen off the board. So our first quarterback is gone. Here, just a handful of picks into the second round, Josh Allen is off the board now. I don't think that's really surprising. I think you're going to see that in a lot of drafts. We're talking about a guy who is the back-to-back reigning quarterback 1, trying to go for 3 in a row. Hasn't been done since Brett Favre did it, ending in the 97 season. David Montgomery ends up going with the next pick to Christie, so that puts Justin back on the board. He will take Stephon Diggs. So Diggs coming near the end part of the second round. Travis Kelce is off the board. So our first tight end goes off the board to Niran with the second to last pick in the second round. So that leaves Aaron with the back-to-back picks at the turn. He'll go Aaron Jones to end the second round. And where will he go to start the third round? The suspense. It's killing me. But we have a tight end off the board. We have a quarterback off the board. I'm going to guess he goes tight end. That's just my guess. I have no belief. I have no reason to really back that up. Instead, he goes Javonte Williams. So Javonte Williams goes to start the third round. I want to get excited about Javonte Williams, but Melvin Gordon makes me nervous about that. If Melvin Gordon wasn't there, I think Javonte would have been a first-round pick, but otherwise he's not. Tyreek Hill is your second pick in the third round, followed by DeAndre Swift. So now we're on the fourth pick. It's back to Christy here. She went David Montgomery, or Dalvin Cook and David Montgomery. Follows that up with C.D. Lamb. That's a pretty strong start. Mike Evans goes to Hytham in the fifth spot. And then Kyle Pitts. Ooh, that's spicy. I dig that, Randy, though. I really do dig that pick, that Kyle Pitts pick in the third. So he starts with a running back, a receiver, and a tight end. So he gets all of those. At this point, I feel like I've got to get a running back because I don't have one yet, and I don't know how many are going to last here. So with my third pick in the draft, as the clock gets under 10 seconds, I'm going to take Ezekiel Elliott, and I know a lot of people are going to say, boo, boo, tomato, tomato, tomato. I feel like the Ezekiel Elliott hate has gone too far. I get it. He's not the same player he was a few years ago. None of us are. All right, let's just leave that alone. But I don't know that Tony Pollard is ready for this huge starring role like I think most of fantasy Twitter wants him to be. So I will take Zeke with the seventh pick in the third round. That's followed up by Antonio Gibson. Mark Andrews comes off the board there. So he's actually our third tight end off the board. As we get to the turn, Keenan Allen is our final pick at the end of the third round. Leonard Fournette, all 260 pounds of him, apparently. We'll start the fourth round here. That'll be followed up by DK Metcalf. I do have some interesting thoughts on the Seahawks wide receivers. So DK Metcalf goes second. J.K. Dobbins is the third pick in the fourth round. So that sends it back to me. And I see the way tight ends are going. I always want to make sure I get a good tight end early. I'm looking and seeing what else is out there. The running back spot, as I got down to 15 seconds. I have some options. But under 10 seconds, I am going to make the move, and I am going to take George Kittle. So we now have, four tight ends off the board. George Kittle is the fourth tight end. He's the fourth pick in the fourth round. Four's wild, I guess, apparently. Deontay Johnson follows him, going to Randy with the fifth pick in the fourth round. Then we get back to Hytham with the sixth pick. He takes Saquon Barkley, and I shake my fist because I guess I knew better that he wasn't going to get back around to me, but I was sort of hoping that maybe there'd be some paranoia there, but no. Surprise. Dawson Knox is off the board. He is the fifth tight end off the board right now. That one goes to Christie in the fourth round, seventh pick in the fourth round. Scary Terry McLaurin going to the Gravedigger at the eighth pick in the fourth round. So now we are back to Nearin as we near the end of this fourth round here. And I'm trying to look at some of these teams. I mean, we have RIS2, Random Internet Stranger. I guess it's Random Internet Stranger number 2, the 10th pick. Started really strong with three wide receivers, Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams, and Keenan Allen. Leonard Fournette also comes off the board with his fourth pick. We end the fourth round with T. Higgins going to Aaron. That's his first wide receiver after he went three straight running backs to open. So now he comes back around to start round number 5. I'm very curious. He goes Chris Godwin here. So that it's not a bad pick. I'm curious when Godwin exactly is going to be available and how he comes back, what the strength level will be when he comes back. But if he is back to full strength, especially early in the season, that's not a bad start. Taylor, Jones, Williams, Higgins, Godwin. Got our second quarterback off the board. Nearin goes with Patrick Mahomes with the second pick in the fifth round. So that gets us back to Justin Gravert. He will take Darren Waller. So Waller actually going after Dawson Knox. I would make a Dawson's Creek joke here, but my mind's not working fast enough just yet. So I guess maybe Dawson Knox getting ahead of Darren Waller. It's Dawson's Leap. Come on, I'm looking across the window. There's no reaction there. Clyde Edwards-Helaire goes fourth in the fifth round. Jalen Waddle, fifth. Marquise Brown goes sixth. So now that gets it back to me. And so far, I've gone Cooper Kupp, Deebo Samuel, Ezekiel Elliott, George Kittle. And so now where do I go with my seventh pick? I feel like I do need to kind of make sure I get another solid running back here. The clock is running. I'm at 8 seconds here. I'm going to go maybe a bit of, I'm going to go Cam Akers. Maybe a little bit off ADP a little bit. Maybe not. Maybe not in a 10-team league, right? So Cam Akers goes seventh. He is my second running back along with Ezekiel Elliott. Kyler Murray now off the board at 8. Elijah Mitchell at the 5.9. So now we're coming to the turn at the end of the fifth round. And, it's interesting because we saw a lot of running backs early. 8 of the first 10 picks were running backs in this draft. Since then, it's been a little bit more wide receiver heavy so far, with a few running backs sprinkled in. And I think that's what we're going to see a lot when we get to a lot of real drafts when the regular season comes. DJ Moore rounds out the 5th round. Now we're getting ready to start the 6th round, and it's Dallas Goddard who comes off the board to start round 6. So we're starting to see a few more tight ends. DeAndre Hopkins at the 6.2, maybe a touch early because he's going to end up missing some time to start the season. Tyler Lockett right after him. I don't mind that Tyler Lockett pick right there, but instead of talking about that right now, let me go back and make a draft pick because I've got 17 seconds left. So I'm looking around here, and you know what? I feel like this is a good time to get a quarterback. So I'm going to go and take Justin Herbert, who is still hanging around on the board here. So I get Justin Herbert as my quarterback in the 6th round. I love it. Russell Wilson goes right after him. So a couple of AFC West quarterbacks go back-to-back. 6.6 is Damian Harris, and that gets us back to Christy at the 6.7. She took Clyde Edwards-Helaire with her last pick. And let's see where she goes with this one. Matthew Stafford. Oh, by the way, I did not mention the fact that Niren took Travis Etienne in the 4th round ahead of Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Lamar Jackson will go right after Stafford at the 6.8. So we've had some kind of shuffling of the quarterbacks here so far in this one. A little bit of shuffling, a little bit of surprise. I don't hate any of it. I love the Michael Pittman pick. That's the 6.9 to Niren. Part of that is my USC showing, but I don't care. But he takes Michael Pittman at the 6.9. So his 2 wide receivers are Tyreek Hill and Michael Pittman. Not bad at all. I think Pittman is set for a breakout year, especially with Matt Ryan at quarterback. So we end the 6th round with Aaron taking James Conner, and we start the 7th round with Aaron on the clock. So we got a little bit of a quarterback run in that 6th round. 4 quarterbacks in the 10 picks taken: Herbert, Wilson, Stafford, and Jackson. So I think everybody at this point, I believe everybody has a quarterback. No, that's not true. Niren does not yet have a quarterback, or rather, Aaron does not have a quarterback, as he takes Hunter Renfrow to start the 7th round. Let's see. And then Random Internet Stranger number 2 does not. Also, Team 9 does not. I don't think I gave them a name. So you're just Team 9. Sorry about your luck. Anyways, we're going to start we started the 7th round with Hunter Renfrow. That puts Niren back on the clock. And he will go with another wide receiver, taking Mike Williams. So Mike Williams hanging around until the 7th round, and then gets snatched up there by Niren. So now to the 3rd pick in the round. It is Justin Graver. He took Lamar Jackson with his last pick. Let's look at what he's done. Starts with Austin Eckler, goes Stephon Diggs, DeAndre Swift, Terry McLaurin, Darren Waller, Lamar Jackson. Then he follows that up with Amari Cooper. And you want to talk about uncertainty. Amari Cooper falling to the 7th round, I think, is sort of the highlight of uncertainty. Elijah Moore goes at the 7.4. Brandon Cooks at the 7.5. And then Rashad Penny is the 6th pick in the 7th round, so that gets it back to me here. I went Justin Herbert with my last pick. So where do I go here? Kind of looking. There's still a lot of talent on the board, and this is sort of what you're going to see when you're talking about 10-team leagues. I know some of you out there are probably rolling your eyes and what have you. Don't care. There's a lot of people that play in 10-team leagues. I got 2 seconds left. I'm going to take Josh Jacobs here. I've got Josh Jacobs right now as my 3rd running back, and I know a lot of people are sort of down on him, but I think as a 3rd running back, I think you're okay. I know the Raiders don't throw him the ball as much as we would like, or really at all, but I still think he's going to get a lot of opportunity, a lot of production in that backfield, and the offense in general should be better, so maybe that helps him out a little bit. So that was the 7th pick in the 7th round. TJ Hawkinson goes next. Aaron Rodgers off the board as the 9th pick in the 7th round. And then we go with Miles Sanders to finish out round 7. Darnell Mooney opens up round 8. I'll say this. Miles Sanders, watching him sort of slip in drafts, I understand it. And I think a lot of people are coming to the resignation that the Eagles just don't love Miles Sanders the way we do. Darnell Mooney starts it off in the 8th round. He got a couple of defenses. The Colts go 8.2. The Bills go 8.3. So now it's back to me with the 4th pick in the 8th round. And, you know what? I think as the time gets low on me, I'm going to go switching between 2 wide receivers. I'm going to go Homer. I'm going to take Robert Woods here. I was debating between Robert Woods and Devontae Smith, We'll see what Robert Woods has after coming back from the ACL injury, but right now he is slated early on to be the number one wide receiver there in Tennessee. Treylon Burks still sort of working his way into the system there a little bit, but I think early on in the season in the passing game, as long as Woods is healthy, they really are going to sort of lean on him in the passing game. We've got a rookie off the board. Breece Hall goes with the 5th pick in the 8th round to Randy, which hats off to you. I like that pick there. I think Breece Hall is in line for a big opportunity this year, and I think his pass catching ability will keep him on the field even in negative game scripts. So there you go. Jerry Jeudy goes to Hytham with the 6th pick in the 8th round. Alexander Madison, Lin-Manuel Miranda's favorite running back, goes with the 7th pick, followed by Adam Thielen. So we get back-to-back Vikings there. Cortland Sutton going to Niren there. Love that. Cortland Sutton is definitely a big kind of breakout candidate for me this year, with Russell Wilson now at quarterback there in Denver. Dalton Schultz will round out the 8th round, so Aaron gets his tight end late in the 8th round, so he will start things off in the 9th round. I know Dalton Schultz has been a fantasy Twitter favorite this year, and I think we're sort of not worried so much about the contract situation, but what the potential can be. No Amari Cooper, those targets got to go somewhere. They can't all go to CeeDee Lamb. Dalton Schultz really could pick up some slack there. So now we go back to the start of the 9th round. Brandon Ayuk gets the call there. I'm interested to see what happens with Ayuk, because obviously last year he was a fantasy favorite, ends up as a disappointment as Deebo Samuel sort of took over. But we saw him have some flashes, especially late in the season. So I'm curious to see where he sort of picks things up there. Melvin Gordon in the 9th round to Niren. I love what Niren is building right now. I'm starting to be sorry that I let him into this mock draft, because it looks really good, and I love Melvin Gordon. I love him at ADP right now. While everybody is sort of really on Javonte Williams early, I think Melvin Gordon's going to have a big role, and to get him at ADP right now just seems like a real bargain. The 3rd spot in this 9th round, Justin Graver goes with A.J. Dillon, a.k.a. Quadzilla. And I'm very curious to see what his role is going to be, because it looks like it's sort of growing in that Packers offense. I know that's why people are nervous about Aaron Jones. At the 4th spot, Christie will go with a defense. She takes the Rams, followed by Pat Freiermuth to Hytham. So the Muth is Luth in the middle of the 9th round. Kirk Cousins comes off the board to Randy at number 6. So now that gets it to me at number 7. I was debating between Devontae Smith and Robert Woods. Devontae Smith is still there, but you know what? I think I'm going to go with Allen Robinson here. Maybe to kind of prove a point that I didn't understand early in the season, in draft season, why Allen Robinson was falling so far. I get it sort of in a 10-team draft that he would last to the 9th round, but I still think he's set up. He has. We've said this for years. This is the best quarterback he's ever played with, and it really is true for Matthew Stafford. So he goes with the 7th pick in the 9th round. It has come back around to me. I will update you on the other picks in just a moment after I make my selection here in the 10th round. Still a lot of players out here on the board. A lot of interesting running backs, too, as we sort of scroll down a little bit. At the risk of not letting him get away from me, I'm going to take Chase Edmonds here in the 10th round, just thinking he's going to have a big role there in Miami. There's not a lot of clarity in the Dolphins' backfield just yet, but I do think he's going to command a large opportunity, and his pass-catching ability, I think, puts him a little bit above everybody else in that backfield. So let me catch you up a little bit. After Allen Robinson in the 9th round, Justin Tucker, Younghoe Koo, and then Devontae Smith round out round number 9. Chase Claypool starts round number 10, followed by Joe Burrow, Michael Carter. I took Chase Edmonds. Right after him, Randy goes with Mike Gesicki. Hytham takes the Buccaneers defense. Then it's Christie going with Kareem Hunt. Again, another guy who's sort of falling, and I think maybe because there's just so many question marks about the Browns. I mean, let's be honest. What happens with Deshaun Watson is going to impact what happens with everybody else in that offense, both on the field and in fantasy football. So Kareem Hunt goes with the 7th pick in the 10th round. 10.8, that one to Justin. He goes Tony Pollard, who has been everybody's hero on fantasy Twitter. You follow enough people on fantasy Twitter, and Tony Pollard is basically going to be the second coming of Bo Jackson and Walter Payton all rolled into one. So he goes 10.8. All right, Niren, you're out. You're done. He takes Drake London. He takes Drake London at the 10.9, and that's a guy I really have been trying to get in as many drafts, mock or real, as possible. I was hoping and praying that he would somehow slip one more round and I could grab him, but instead Niren takes him at the 10.9, and I am very much jealous of the roster that he has put together so far in this mock draft. So he goes 10.9. Dak Prescott finishes out the 10th round here in this mock draft to Aaron. So Aaron finally gets his quarterback, which, by the way, this is a reminder that if you were playing in a 10-team league, you can probably still wait on quarterbacks and get yourself a pretty good one right there. So we'll start the 11th round. Cordero Patterson to Aaron. Niren goes with Kenneth Walker, the rookie running back in Seattle. Jalen Hurts was still hanging around on the board. Maybe a little bit of a surprise, but he's the 11.3. Devin Singletary at 11.4. We have Tyler Bass, so the Bills kicker off the board there. Chris Olave, another rookie wide receiver. Oh, I'm on the clock. I have like 8 seconds left. I've been talking this whole time, so I need to pay attention to what's happening here. So you know what? We already have one USC wide receiver. We'll take another one. We'll go Amon-Ra St. Brown, just because I couldn't get to Drake London. So the consolation prize for me is Amon-Ra St. Brown in the 11th round. James Robinson goes right after that. Obviously, we'll see what his health status is going to be once we get to week 1, as he got injured late last season. DJ Chark, now of the Detroit Lions, is the second to last pick in the 11th round. And so we will finish out the 11th round waiting for random internet stranger number 2 to make their pick. And they go Michael Gallup. So actually they have gone 4 wide receivers in a row. Darnell Mooney, Devontae Smith, Chase Claypool, and Michael Gallup. So that is how the 11th round ends. RIS2 will start off the 12th round. Again, we're going to go 15 rounds in this thing. So it's moving along. We'll just keep it going. Zack Ertz starts the 12th round, and I think he's a really interesting talking point. I have been higher on Zack Ertz than a lot of people. Let me make my pick here as it comes back to me, and I will continue that thought on Zack Ertz. But I think there's been a little bit of disrespect for Zack Ertz so far this draft season, and I don't completely understand it. I am down to 14 seconds as I scroll, and do I take another USC wide receiver? As I'm looking around, I think I do. Welcome to the squad, Juju Smith-Schuster, another guy who I think we've gone overboard on. But let me get back to Zack Ertz, because what we saw from him after he was traded to Arizona last season was a guy who really came alive. He no longer had to share those tight end snaps and targets with Dallas Goddard, really made an impact. And it was one of those trades that sort of worked out for both sides. It allowed Goddard to kind of open up and be free in Philly. It allowed Zack Ertz to go back to doing his thing there in Arizona. He doesn't have any competition for those tight end options down there in the desert. Throwing the fact Christian Kirk is gone, throwing that DeAndre Hopkins is suspended for the first 6 weeks of the season. There are going to be a lot of targets to be had. I know Marquise Brown is there. He's not going to get them all. I like Rondale Moore as a sleeper, but I think Zack Ertz deserves a little bit more love than he's getting so far in drafts. So to be able to get him in the 12th round, even in a 10-team draft, that feels sort of like stealing. So I think that's a good call right there. So after him, it was Chris Carson. We'll see if Chris Carson actually plays this year. Trey Lance goes third pick in the 12th. I take Juju with the fourth pick. We go to Packers defense, Darrell Henderson, Matt Gay. Rashad Bateman, who right now, for all intents and purposes, is the number 1 receiver in Baltimore, though I think this sort of speaks to what people feel about the Ravens' passing offense. Gabe Davis, who you want to start a fight on fantasy Twitter. Just ask people their opinions on Gabe Davis, and you'll get a lot of eye rolls, digital eye rolls, and a lot of arguing. So I'm not wading into that because that's just not my bag, baby. Ending out the 12th round, Treylon Burks going to Aaron. He starts round 13 with Raheem Mostert. Niren follows that up with the 49ers defense. We get the Titans defense at 3, so Justin Graver staying on brand by taking the Titans there. Garrett Wilson, the Jets rookie wide receiver, goes at 13.4. Van Jefferson, I've said on this show many times, I am a Van stan at 13.5. Michael Thomas, 13.6. I think that's going to start to change as we get a little bit further into the summer. So now I am on the clock with the 13.7. And let's see, where can we go? The running back list is pretty thin right now. So We'll go back to the wide receivers, see who's there. The clock is running, and you know what? I'm going to take a shot at Christian Watson. We'll take a rookie wide receiver here, and I've gone very wide receiver heavy in my last few rounds. In fact, my last 3 picks with Amon-Ra St. Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Christian Watson as my last 3 picks. Ronald Jones off the board at the 13.8. Devonta Parker, now of the New England Patriots, is the second to last pick in the 13th round. So we wait. We wait on random internet stranger number 2 to finish out the 13th round. He will go with Tom Brady. Never heard of him. So he's hanging around in the 13th round. Daniel Carlson, the kicker, will start round 14. Everybody begins to fill out the rest of their rosters. Corey Davis is the second pick in the 14th round. Hunter Henry goes third. So it's back to me. Do I take a kicker or a defense, or do I just sort of let it ride with somewhere else? You know what? This is a 10-team league, so I will play it a little bit differently than it were a 12-team league, and I think I will take a kicker. So I will take Harrison Butker, buttkicker.com. Welcome aboard here. So we got about a round and a half left of this one. Randall Cobb, now back with the Packers at the specific urging of Aaron Rodgers. So he goes 5th in the 14th round. Deshaun Watson at the 14.6. Obviously, there's a whole major cloud around what his playing status is going to be. We wait to see how that's going to go. Chuba Hubbard is the 14.7. Side note, a friend of mine was driving through Chuba Hubbard's hometown in Canada, and there are apparently signs plastered all over the place that say hometown of Chuba Hubbard. So they are very proud of their hometown guy up there in Alberta, Canada. Evan McPherson, who was a postseason hero for the Bengals, he goes at the 14.8. Ryan Suckup, the 14.9. Matt Prater ends the 14th round. So we have gone very kicker heavy here in this second to last round. So now we come around to the 15th and final round. It's the Dallas Cowboys defense that start things off. Niren takes Justin Fields as kind of a secondary quarterback behind getting Patrick Mahomes. Ramondre Stevenson, who I think has some sleeper appeal, goes with the 3rd pick to Justin in the round. Tyler Boyd is at the 15.4. Logan Thomas, who I said was the Fitbit Player of the Year a couple years ago because he was just out there getting the steps in. He's the 15.5. Randy Bullock is at 15.6. So now it's back to me. And do I take a defense, or do I decide to do something a little bit different and maybe make a statement? I have 10 seconds left to decide what it is that I'm going to do. You know what? I've been making it a point recently to talk about how much I love Albert Okwuegbunam. So I'm going to take him here. I know I've got George Kittle, but I'm just sort of making the point that I really like Albert O as kind of a sleeper tight end, a guy that you can get late in drafts, and hoping that the rising tide that is Russell Wilson lifts all the boats there in that Broncos passing game. So I take him at the 15.7. Christian Kirk at the 8th pick in the 15th round. Myles Gaskin is your 9th pick in the 15th round. And we're waiting for one last pick from random internet stranger number 2 before we wrap it all up. So still waiting for this final pick. I guess they must have left. So it ends up being the Ravens defense. So that is how the draft ends. So 15 rounds done in a 10-team draft. I will run through my team. This is picking from the 7th slot, mind you. By the way, I know I have run through all of these quickly. You can see all of this. We will post this in our YouTube channel. You can also find it in the Fantasy app. We'll have this up there in video form, so you can watch everything that sort of went down. And I'm sure that it's the internet, so you guys will have commentary about it as well. We welcome all of that. But so this is my team picking from the 7th slot in a 10-team draft. Cooper Kupp, I went number 1. Deebo Samuel in the 2nd round. Ezekiel Elliott at 3. George Kittle was my 4th pick. Cam Akers at 5. Justin Herbert at 6. Josh Jacobs, my 7th pick. I'll go Robert Woods, then Allen Robinson. So I go with a former Ram and now a current Ram at my wide receiver spots. Chase Edmonds was my 10th pick. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, because, I got to have my share of Trojans. Look, I am a homer. I admit it. But I also have reasons for why I picked those guys where I did. Christian Watson in the 13th round. Harrison Butker goes 14. And Albert Okwuegbunam is in the 15th round. Just looking sort of off the top of my head, though, some of the other teams I really liked. I love, like I said, what Niren Chata did at number 2. He started with Derrick Henry and went with Travis Kelce right after that. Tyreek Hill, Travis Etienne in the 4th. He's Patrick Mahomes in the 5th round. But I really love right in the middle part of this draft, Michael Pittman at 6, Cortland Sutton at 8, Melvin Gordon at 9, Drake London at 10. I'm blown away by that. So that was a really solid run for him right in the middle of that draft. So we got plenty. Like I said, it'll be on the interwebs. You can go check this out at youtube.com/NFL Fantasy Football, or you can find this in the NFL Fantasy app as well. By the way, signups are officially open. You can go to NFL.com/fantasy so you can start a new league. You can make sure you reactivate your old leagues from past seasons as well. So be sure to go check that out and get that done as soon as possible. Because look, training camps are open. So that means fantasy draft season is definitely underway. So I think that's it. That's a mouthful. I've been talking a lot. I'm sure you guys are tired of hearing me, but I appreciate you checking in. I appreciate everybody for jumping in this draft, everybody across the glass on the other side, and some of the folks who are elsewhere in our building right now that are helping us mock draft. In the meantime, that'll do it for this edition of the NFL Fantasy Football Podcast. It'll also do it for our YouTube broadcast as well. For those of you out there listening digitally, stay happy, safe, and healthy. Do good, be good, live well, take care of yourselves, take care of folks around you, and we'll talk to you real soon.